Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Supptalk Radio. Today we're doing a little bit of a detour. As Sean Ray would say, we're discussing the business of bodybuilding. Today I am joined by a family man, I Prevail Supplements, athlete, and your new IFBB professional, Michael Von Ratz. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
So, Michael, while it's fresh in our mind, kind of walk us through the week of the team universe. Are you on target? Are you off? Like, what's going through your mind? You're probably a bundle of emotions.
Yeah, so it's funny enough, I would say the universe prep was easy. Like I've had preps before, where 2.5 hours of cardio, no carbs, you're just grinding. And honestly, universe was like, I'm not gonna say it was a breeze, right? Because prep's never a breeze at the end of it. But it was really smooth. And I mean, I contribute that to a lot of factors. One, the environment where you are. Like my last prep, I was we were in a very small apartment at the time, and just things like that add stressors that you might not even notice. And then we bought a house the end of last year. And so just having the space and just, the ability to kind of live, it just made all the difference. Granted, we did some things different with the diet and stuff as well, but I think a big one for me was just like the lack of stress, the outside stressors. This prep was huge.
So the day of the show, I mean, I don't know, are you the type of person that you focus on yourself? Are you doing kind of research to see who else is in the show? Are you worried about who's entering, or just all you worried about yourself?
So I think my first national show, I was definitely like that guy who was on the phone, and I was like looking at who Sulios and Bodybuilders Without Borders were posting for like the front runners. And that is the most toxic thing you can do. Like, bless those pages, because they're awesome for getting us amateurs up there and in the spotlight, and what shows are coming up, but it can make you crazy, like just deep diving everybody's social media. So I definitely, I don't stay off of it now, but I don't actively look. And I just kind of like stay in my own lane. Super focused on just controlling my variables and just making sure, I cross all my T's, dot all my I's.
You're backstage, you're pumping up, and you've got everything exposed. Look at everybody else. You're thinking you got this. I mean, be honest, you're thinking you got this. You're kind of like, well,
yeah. I tend to keep my clothes on as long as possible. And I throw my headphones on, and I always listen to like meditation music. Like this one was Japanese, like meditation. And I find a little spot and I just chill. But once they call us up in line, I got out there, tan on, glaze on, and I started pumping up. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't confident. I mean, I was seeing guys, there were really good guys there, but I was very confident in the package that I was bringing. I didn't want to voice it because you never know.
Of course.
But I was definitely very confident going into the show that, at least I'd be fighting for it.
Michael, what are your stats? You're heavyweight, but what are your height and what'd you weigh that day?
Yep. So I weighed myself that morning before I headed over to prejudging, and I was 219.8, and I'm 5'9".
So what made you pick that show? Was it just timing of the overall diet, how you felt, or why that show?
Yeah. So previously we had talked about like what national show I was going to do this year. And nationals was the first choice. I've done nationals before, and I want to do that show. And then, I just got the bug in my ear. Like I was turning 35 this year, and Team U is one of the only national shows that's drivable distance. And like, it's only 5 hours for us. So it was like, hey, while we're doing nationals, we might as well go down there and take a shot at it. And that was kind of the thought process. I never really thought like I was going to compete as a masters until I was at least 40. Because I kind of think 35, you're still in your prime.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's kind of strange, right? So I was a little hesitant there, but somebody once told me like, it doesn't really matter how you get the pro card, it's what you do with it after. So I tried to keep that. I tried to keep that mindset, and I was like, all right, we'll do this. We can make it down there. It's pretty easy to drive down there. So let's just take a shot at it. And worst comes to worst, we'll hit nationals later.
So were you going into this to try to win, or is kind of a tune-up?
It was definitely a try to win for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I was super focused, super dialed. This prep made bodybuilding feel fun again, where kind of the last 2 years, not that it's ever not fun, but kind of when you get to that national level and you have to do those requalifications, it kind of becomes like winning a regional show isn't super exciting. It's just kind of expected. You're expected to get back there and you're expected to do better at nationals, and the clock's always ticking. So that's always in the back of your head. So I definitely came into this one super focused for sure.
And how long was your prep?
About 20 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
I tend to do longer preps. My glutes need it.
and coach, I guess, can I ask who's coaching you? Or do
yeah. So at the beginning of prep, I had contacted Justin Randall.
Okay.
And he's consulting me and everything. And he decided to go the route of pro judging. So we actually separated pretty close into that. And then my girlfriend, who's a very good coach herself, finished up and pretty much did my whole prep. And she did spot on. I just let her take the wheel. And tried to take the boyfriend girlfriend mentality out of it. And she knows what she's looking at. She knows what she's doing. She's placed a lot of people in the winner's circle. So
God, what's that like though? It's gotta be tough. I mean, obviously your hormones are all over the area.
Yeah.
You're probably carb deprived at some point or a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you able to keep yourself in check without telling her to kind of, be honest, F off?
Yeah. So I'm pretty good at like pushing that to the side. Now, don't get me wrong. You have your low carb days where you just feel like crap anyways, and you're kind of a dick to people. And I definitely had 1 or 2 days of that, but I just tried to treat check-ins and everything that she was doing as if it was no different than any other coach I'd have.
So walking into a show, let's say 4 weeks out, when it's really getting to crunch time, what's like the dial? What do meals look like?
Yeah. So 4 weeks out, we went pretty low. Like I was doing about 40 grams of carbs a day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
6 meals. Yeah. Cardio was at about an hour and a half a day. And the meals, I'd have 4 whole food meals and then 2 shake meals.
Okay.
And chicken, veggies, and then protein, the protein shake. And then my pre-workout meal would have that 40 grams of carbs from rice. And
gotcha.
That was really it. Now we did do some high days in there. Like we do push 3 or 4 low days like that. And then we do a higher day where I'd be more at like 150 grams of carbs, 200 grams of carbs.
Somebody had actually asked a question, what lean protein do you prioritize and why?
I'm pretty much a chicken guy. Like I'll do fish too. And in the off season, I'll do steak or lean ground beef. But this prep was primarily all chicken. Yeah.
Interesting. And with cardio, are you a fasted cardio type guy or does it matter?
Yeah. So I'm kind of on the fence, but anytime I get over, like an hour of cardio, I tend to split it up, a fasted session, a post-workout session. So I was doing both fasted cardio and post-workout cardio.
Gotcha. Take us back to teenage Michael. What were you, an athlete? Like, what was it like growing up?
Yeah. So before bodybuilding, it was basketball. It's like a whole lifetime. I was obsessed. I played in college. I played in prep school. I played in high school. Actually got scholarship to play college basketball. And I wanted to go overseas and play professionally. I did some workouts with like semi-pro or G League teams at the time, like the Maine Red Claws. And that was kind of the thing. And about around the age 21, like the whole basketball dream kind of fizzled out. And bodybuilding slowly took its place.
just injury, or just kind of figured you weren't going to go pro? Or
it was one of those things that, like, I'm 21. That's kind of in the basketball world old to take on a career. Most of these guys are starting at 17, 18. And a lot of scouts kind of look over those 21, 22-year-old guys. And I did have an agent at the time that was trying to get me, a deal overseas. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and that definitely swayed some of my decisions. Like, is it worth going and doing this? Like, am I going to play? Just a lot of ifs. And I kind of decided not to go that route and leave basketball as is. And I started getting into the gym.
So I'll put your younger guy, I'll put you on the spot. LeBron or Jordan? Who's the better player?
Oh, I mean, so this is Jordan in my mind, but I don't think there's a better basketball brain out there than LeBron. I mean, I think Jordan's the greatest. 6 for 6 in the finals. That's a stat that you can't argue with. But LeBron's longevity and the way his mind works in the game is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I just love the debates because it's always pretty much cut. As I say, the older generation goes Jordan and the younger generation goes LeBron.
Yeah, for sure. I try and be a realist. They both have their outstanding, abilities for sure.
So you hang up your basketball shoes, your chucks. We'll say you hang up your chucks.
Yeah.
You decide to hit the weights, and is the goal to start doing bodybuilding shows, or just kind of lift weights and see where it goes?
So I kind of got fat for about a year and a half, the fattest I've ever been. And I remember I was having a conversation with my girl at the time, and when she met me, I was still a basketball player, and I wasn't big, but I was very, very lean. And I was like, "Hey, like, are you still attracted to me? Do I look the same as when we met?" And she was very sincere, and she's like, "I still love you, but you look a little different." And now that was it. Like, I took a picture in the mirror that day. I went and ran 4 miles. I didn't know what I was doing. I got a gym membership, and I was like, I'm not gonna look like this anymore. And I started following like some bodybuilding.com diets.
Yep.
And I actually lost it was like 30 pounds by myself in about 4 months. And I got pretty lean. And somebody at the gym was like, that competed in the OCB was like, "Hey, have you ever done a show?" And I didn't really know what bodybuilding was. I mean, I'd seen some like Flex magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, I don't know." And they're like, "Well, there's one this fall. Like, you should jump in." And I did. And that was the beginning.
Did the thought of, as many people say, standing on stage in your underwear didn't kind of cross your mind or worry you or scare you or anything?
Oh, it did. Like, I mean, I had no idea really what I was getting into. And I'm pretty introverted.
Yep.
Like, I picked the wrong sport because I don't like eyes on me.
Okay.
But I like everything else that comes with it.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I remember my first time on stage, especially when I had to go out there alone. It was like, "What are you doing?" And my parents were there, and I'm sure they were like, "What is my son doing up there in underwear with oil on in front of all these people flexing his muscles?"
How did you place?
So I did pretty good. I won the novice, and I got second in my class.
Wow, good for you.
I was pretty hooked out of the gate. I was like, "Oh, I'm decently good at this. Like, let's do it again next year."
So now mentally, how is it mentally going from a team sport? Now you're one of 6, 10, 12, whatever it is, and now you're really one of one.
Yeah, it was nice. Team sports are great. I love them. They teach things that I don't think any other sport can.
Yep.
But being able to control your reality solely is like different. And it's extremely addicting for sure.
Yep.
Like, and I love that aspect. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. It's there's nothing else quite like it. Like, whatever you put out, whatever you kind of put in, you get out of it. I mean, you might not get the placing you want, but like whatever you put in, you kind of reap the benefits of that.
So you get bit by the bug. You have some great placings. Now, are you like all in? Or are you still thinking, maybe? Or
I'm all in, and I'm like, I want to be the best natural bodybuilder there is.
okay.
And Doug Miller at the time was like the man.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Doug's physique and being like, "Whoa, like
He's
that's
a freak. He's a genetic anomaly.
Absolutely crazy." That like iconic picture. He's like hitting a rear double by, like it's outside, like over the city or something like that. That picture just sticks in my head. And I remember seeing that and being like, "That's crazy. Like, I would love to be able to look like half of that."
Yeah.
And so I did another OCB show and prepped myself and completely bombed it. It was terrible. Like you start those last couple of weeks, I started reading everything, like how to carb up, how to deplete water, things that I didn't do the prior prep. And I just kind of threw everything at the wall, and none of it stuck. And I was watery and I looked terrible. And yeah, it was definitely a realization that like, okay, if you're going to do this, like you have to find somebody who knows what they're doing, or you really have to learn a lot more.
And it's tough because again, a lot of the pros, it's you place really good, but yet you still try to reinvent the wheel, and it's to a point of like, why reinvent it? If you did really good, make a
Yeah,
tweak. But everybody's guilty of it. There's nobody that, you know.
for sure. For sure. We make so many mistakes in this, and a coach was super important. And then I decided, I started learning a little bit more about like the NPC and the
Mhm.
IFBB. I started really tuning into that because it was kind of starting to take off on social media around like 2014. It was getting popular.
Yep.
And I started watching like the Mr. Olympias and tuning in for the Arnolds and stuff. And I was like, oh, these guys seem to be the guys that people like. This is like the big league stuff.
Yep.
I want to test that. And then I knew that the Jay Cutler Classic in Boston was like kind of the biggest show around locally. And so I decided in 2016 that I was going to move into the MPC and
Really?
shoot my
Okay.
shot there. Yeah. Yep.
And how did you do for that show?
I did decent. Yeah, I was very, very lean. I was very flat, but I was in shape. And I believe I got second in novice, in
Okay.
light heavyweights, and then fourth in the open class. So
Interesting.
it
Okay.
wasn't terrible, but like, I mean, to me, it was like, oh, like I'd never seen guys that big in
Yeah.
person. And actually, I don't know if you know Nate Spear, but
I know the name. Yeah.
yeah, we competed together in the OCB, and then he kind of transitioned to the MPC when I did. And I remember, and he actually ended up winning the overall at that show. And Nate, I don't know if he knows this, but it's like he's definitely a big part of my bodybuilding success because I've seen him take this like trajectory, and it's
Yeah.
always like, man, like I got to keep up with Nate to some degree. And it's kind of trying to chase Nate down because he's had so much success, and he's a
Yep.
New England guy, and he's a guy that I know personally, and he's a good friend. And so, yeah, Nate definitely was a driver for sure.
So you're looking at, I'm going to assume magazines are still a thing a little bit before they died out, social media, everything else. Are there any bodybuilders that you're looking at saying, I like his physique, that maybe that's what I want to achieve or try to be like?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely like kind of like a nerd when it comes to collecting vintage stuff. So I have a
Okay.
huge like vintage bodybuilding magazine collection, and I actually have like a couple here, like some old Iron Man,
Okay.
and but definitely some of the physiques that I first saw that I was like, that's crazy. I want to look like that. Dexter,
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Baker. I mean, I love Aaron Baker's
Aaron
physique.
is probably, and I'll get in conversation with people. Aaron is probably the most overlooked or underrated. I'm sorry, underrated bodybuilder ever, ever.
100%, 100%. I mean, Batman's physique was crazy, and
He
I
was,
just I don't think he got enough recognition for how good he was.
yes,
But yeah, that physique. So yeah, Dexter Jackson and Aaron Baker. I mean, obviously, Phil was the man at the time, and he looks incredible. And yeah, I mean, there were a lot of physiques I like. Tony Freeman.
he's
And
another one. Yeah.
I always kind of related to, we're both a little more shapely guys
Yep.
and not packing the most muscle, but make up for it in some shape. So I was really attracted to his physique as well. But those are probably like my top three.
I'll have to try and find and send you, but there was a show that I saw on videotape actually. It was in like 90, I think it was 95 in Florida, and it was
Mhm.
Flex against Aaron for the first and second spot. And it
Yep.
was like, I mean, I think Flex won it because of Aaron's past going to another different federation, depending on how much you follow the sport.
Sure.
But I mean, it was just crazy to see both of them going side by side, like
Yeah.
two legends going
Yep.
side by side.
Yep. Yeah. No, the Aaron is fantastic. Like I said, one of my favorites. Just I wish he got a little more recognition.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you would have stayed in the IFBB, you probably would have been more respected, but you never know. You never
Yep.
know.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to training, what is your training like now off season?
Yeah. So I'm pretty much a progressive overload guy.
Okay.
All the time. It's not a lot of volume. I'm doing 6 to 8 working sets per workout, a top
Okay.
set, a back off set. But I do definitely take those sets to like failure. Um, and I do like to train heavy. Like my favorite physiques are the ones we just spoke about, but my favorite mentality in bodybuilding is definitely Branch Warren. Like
Yes.
I love Branch. And I try and take that mentality. Now, I can't do everything Branch does. My joints couldn't handle it, but I definitely take that mentality into the gym with me every day. And my training really doesn't change from off season to prep, besides maybe that last week. But I mean, boy, 2 weeks out, I was still squatting 5 plates for 8 to 10 reps.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've seen Branch train at seminars like recently that I've been to the last couple of years, and he
Yeah.
still trains like he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
And it's just heavy and ballistic. And people
Yeah.
laugh, and it might not be the most proper form, but hey,
Yep.
it works for him. Who are we to judge?
It worked for him. It worked for him and Johnny. Like I say that all the time. It's like, sure, like, we might not be able to do that, and it might not be the, best form, but like,
Yep.
got him second at the Olympia. Like, who's going to argue that it doesn't work? Like, you're crazy.
Exactly. And multiple Arnolds, 1 or 2 Arnolds too, I think you won, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So, Michael, we had some other questions here about training. Back day, pull downs or rows first?
Rows.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a row guy. I finished my back day with pull downs. Yeah, but I don't connect.
A rarity.
I know.
Some kind of pull down to get the shoulders and everything else loose.
I'll do a pull over. Like, I'll do like a cable pull over to warm up. But yeah, rows have seemed to be the movement patterns I connect with a little bit better. I do pull downs, but they tend to be at the end of the workout.
Okay. Let's see. Walking lunges or Bulgarian split squats?
Bulgarians. Yeah, Bulgarians. They walking lunges, exhausting. I mean, Bulgarians are exhausting too, but I don't know why I like them more. I don't know. They at least I'm just staying in one place, going straight up and down.
Now, with that, do you do high reps, or are you a heavy dumbbell person with that as well? Or do you do dumbbells?
I'll still be heavy. Like, I'll do them on the Smith machine, and I'll work up to like 3 plates for like 10 reps per leg.
Okay.
So I still do them heavy, and I do walking lunges, but they'll just kind of be weightless at the end of a leg day.
That's a movement I think that's picked up a lot of speed, because I think when it was first kind of out there, I think people felt it was like just weird looking.
Yeah.
And then Evan Centopani, I think, kind of put him on the map. He pulled his quad years ago, and he started doing them for rehab.
Yeah.
And everyone said, "Oh God, if Evan's doing them, I got to do them."
Yeah. If it's good enough for Evan, it's good enough for me.
Let's see. Okay, arms solo or with another body part?
I do them well. So I have a solo arm day, but I have an arm touch-up day because my arms are garbage. So I try and hit them twice a week. But I would say yes, in specific arm day for sure.
Okay, you used the word touch-up, and I actually had Tony Freeman as a guest on the show, and he calls it touch-ups, where he will do something 3 or 4 times, like in a row, to try to help things build. I don't know if you were aware of that, or you just kind of threw that term out of the air.
No, I actually didn't know that he did that, but that's funny. That's kind of what I do for my touch-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll do a heavy leg day, and then like 2 or 3 days he'll continue to do like extensions, just leg extensions, 3, 4 sets of like whatever 20s, just to keep the blood flowing and kind of get that growth building.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what I do. I have my arm day, and then about 3 days later will be the touch up, and I'll do 1 or 2 sets of bis and tris lighter, and just kind of keep that blood in there. Yeah.
Okay. And then we talked I Prevail. I'm actually friends with Jason. How did you guys connect?
So, I mean, I know who Jason is because, once again, I follow bodybuilding, but he came up to Portland Nutrition Corner to drop off some product and just kind of see who was working. And we got to talking, and I was using I Prevail Supplements anyways because they're really good. And then probably about 5 weeks before Universe, I just sent him a message because, I really like the products. It's a smaller company. Like, he's such a good guy. And I was like, hey, I know you have some top level amateurs, especially bodybuilders, but like, if there's ever a spot on the team for me, I'd really like to be part of it and help grow the company. And he was really quick to answer. And he was like, yeah, man, like I'd love that. And we just went from there. And he's such a good dude. Like, he actually came down to Universe to watch prejudging. And
did he? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know any other company owner that's doing that for a guy they just signed. So if that tells you what type of person he is.
Did he give you any insight or any tips, or was he kind of just hands off, you do your thing?
He was pretty hands off, but he was pretty stoked after prejudging. He was I really didn't want to hear like I think you're gonna win or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, because you just don't want to get in your head like that. But he was very excited, like, dude, you looked really good. Like, I think you have a really good shot. So that was really cool hearing that. Because I mean, he
Yeah.
was a hell of a pro himself, so he knows what he's talking about.
He's another one, and he knows this. He will not dispute me on this. When he was competing, he
Yeah.
loved it. He was kind of a ruffian or kind of a badass,
Yep.
you know, going toe to toe with everybody out there. And like you fast forward now, family man. I think he's got 2 daughters, and it's just so
Mhm.
funny to see the genesis of him from like badass to like just a good overall nice guy, like you said, with a great company.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I love being with them. Like, it's just an awesome company. And all the other athletes there are super nice. It just feels like it doesn't feel like you're a number. It just feels like you're part of a group, a
Yep.
family, a community, and I really dig that.
And I don't want to talk bad about the industry, but he's one of the pros that has his name on a product per se that knows and stands behind it. Because in this industry, the supplement industry, there's a lot of pros that have their name on the product, but it's
Yeah,
really like a licensing deal or a commission deal.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he knows his stuff inside and out. He can explain it.
Yep.
He can, he can explain it, down to he could explain it to in layman's terms, or he could explain it to a scientist. Like, he can do
Yes.
both. And that's super impressive. And I like you said, a lot of owners can't do that. They just slap their name on a product and that's it.
So besides I Prevail, what other, you don't have to name drop, but what other things you mentioned protein shakes, but do you
Yeah.
use any kind of other supplements or whatnot?
Yep. So I use protein, obviously, and a couple supplements that I Prevail doesn't have yet
Sure.
that I know might be in the making. I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah, protein, your creatines, pretty standard stuff. I use the EAAs from I Prevail, the intro from I Prevail,
Yep.
pre-workout, all that stuff. And then I do use like a lot of health supplements. I do use Revive a lot.
Oh,
They have a
nice.
pretty good health line. So I use those for, organ health.
Sure, sure.
Yep.
So that was another question here too. When do you use creatine? Pre or post, or when do you take creatine?
I try to do it post, and I
Okay.
only do it post because I only remember when I'm mixing my protein shake.
Oh,
It,
interesting. Okay.
if I was to do it pre-workout, I'd probably forget it every day.
5 grams, 10 grams, or what do you dose with?
Yep, 5 grams.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
creatine monohydrate, micronized. Yeah.
And then someone else, glutamine. Do you use glutamine?
I don't use glutamine at all, and that's probably because I have like 4 cupboards full of supplements,
Yep.
and it's like, geez, how many more are we gonna add? So I'm trying to like tone down the amount of supplements that I own and collect.
Yep.
But yeah, I probably should use glutamine, to be quite honest.
I don't know Jason's line well enough, but perhaps there's glutamine in the intro. Some interests have it, so maybe it does. I don't know.
Yep. Yep. I believe the rehab does have glutamine in it.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm kind of jumping a little bit. You win your show. I
Yep.
always love to hear this. I always like to hear the answer. You win your show. You're excited. You're on cloud 9. Where do you go out to eat to celebrate? What are you eating to kind of,
We wanted to go get like a nice dinner, right? Like, so I really wasn't craving like junk, like pizza or anything.
Okay.
We were like, let's go out and get a steak, or we'll get like good tacos somewhere. And at the venue over there in Teaneck, I had to stay for the overall pictures. So like, we were trying to find something in the area. We found these 2 restaurants about 10 minutes away. We went. They said they were open on Google, of course. We
Of
got
course.
there, they weren't. So at this point, it's like 10:30 at night. I really haven't eaten a meal in like 6 hours. I'm getting a little annoyed with everything.
Okay.
And across the street, there's a Subway. And so I'm
Oh,
like, at this
geez.
point, I'm like, just like, let's just get some food and get back to the venue. So I ended up having Subway post show. It wasn't the most glamorous and exciting celebration meal, but
So are you so far into bodybuilding that you eat clean pretty much all the time? I mean, do you cheat at all with burgers, fries, pizza, anything?
Yeah, like I'll do in the off season, like I'll do like 1 or 2 cheat meals a week. Like I'll do a dirtier one and then a cleaner one. But
Okay.
honestly, I really don't crave a lot, and I stick to my diet pretty religiously and eat pretty clean. It's also made a big difference for me because I used to be the guy that would just try and get as many calories in as possible and definitely get heavier in the off season than I needed to be.
Okay.
In these last 2 preps I've stayed much leaner, and boy, the difference in the ease of the prep and the quality of my look has been drastically different just sticking to my diet foods.
Is it tough? I know you mentioned off air, maybe it was on air that you bought a house.
Yeah.
I see on Instagram you've got a little guy around.
Yeah.
Is it hard? Because obviously he's probably having chicken nuggets, hot dogs, all the dirty stuff.
Yeah, yeah. He
Is
loves
it
that.
hard to kind of make him understand? Hey, look, that's yours. This is mine, and kind of that kind of stuff.
So it's funny because the stuff's in the house, but like I really don't. Yeah, I don't look at it. Like I'll open the freezer or open the fridge, and you just
Yeah.
gloss over it. And he has those type of things, but he's pretty healthy. He likes steak and rice, and he likes things like
Really?
that. And he's been around bodybuilding his whole life, so a prep to him, like he understands it when it's going on. Like whether it's his mom or me, it's like, oh yeah, they're in prep. They can't really eat these things right now, and yeah, he's good with it.
So do you just understand the real fact of, okay, you guys may be a little moody. I'll be
Yeah,
honest here.
yeah,
Okay, just back off. They're kind of in prep, and stay
yeah.
clear.
Yeah, well, honestly, with him, like always try and put my best foot forward when he's around. Like even
Yeah,
if something sucks, just still trying to act like regular Mike. I think we both do a pretty good job of that. Like if
awesome.
if we're gonna be a little frustrated, we keep it to ourselves, and the frustration comes out in the room alone, or we might go and sit somewhere. But yeah, if we're feeling bad, we don't let him know.
Did you mount the big IFBB poster
Yeah,
card yet on the wall, or
I got it. It's
oh, is that it over there? Okay.
right back there. Yeah, yeah. This is like our office/trophy room. So Shay's got her overall trophies and her winning trophies in here, and I got mine. And then that's the newest addition, and it's pretty cool.
So now is Shay gunning? Does she want to be a pro as well, or is this kind of more of a hobby for her?
Yeah, so last year we both won the overall at the Connecticut Grand Prix. She won it in figure, and I won it in bodybuilding.
Oh, nice.
And she's probably a better bodybuilder than I am, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much all the judges, expediters were like, because it was about 2 weeks prior to last year's Team U, and everybody was like, hey, you need to be going to Team U because you can win. And we had some not problems. We just had plans last summer, and it was
Okay.
predetermined to kind of shut it down after Connecticut. She might regret that a little bit now because I do think she had a really good shot of winning, but she's doing nationals this year. So she's actually in prep. Right. I ended prep and she started prep. So she's in prep for nationals. So we're going to Texas in December.
I think that's, I mean, I don't know, because I think that's smart though to have people on prep at different times. But I know there's families that do them at the same time, and I'd hate to kind of be in that house during that same time frame.
We did that last year, and yeah, it was a test for sure. It was we definitely had some nights where we weren't the friendliest to each other, but we got through it. I'll tell you, if a couple decides to do a prep together, it's going to be a make or break. You're either going to be together forever after, or you're not going to be together at all.
Yeah, there's a couple I follow. I don't know if you know Brett. I think his name is Brent Swanson.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Him and his wife do shows together. I'm like, God bless you both.
Yeah, I mean, it's super impressive, and they both get. I mean, they're both super lean, and
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a type 1 diabetic too
he
as
is.
well, so he deals with that as well. So, geez, hats off to them. That's incredible.
So I don't know if this is the right time to ask, but are you looking at shows next year, or are you kind of thought that far?
I am, yeah, for sure. Like that's the first thing that we were talking about. So I think this kind of the time frame that we're in now, like the Chicago, Tampa, Dallas,
Okay.
those run of shows. I would like to do at least 2 next year. Right now, it's probably looking like maybe Chicago and Tampa.
Okay.
So that's the goal. That gives me a pretty decent off season. I would love to do New York. I just don't think it'll give me quite enough time. But
Yeah. Okay.
New York would be awesome because it's kind of like the hometown show, and people could come down and watch. But 2026 New York.
Would you jump in the open or do or do masters in those? Well, New York doesn't have, I don't think New York has masters, but the other two I believe have masters.
I would definitely do open. Yeah,
Good for you.
think I'm still relatively young. 35. I feel like I still have at least 5 really, really good years of bodybuilding ahead. So definitely open for me. Yeah,
and that's what I hear. The consensus is most pros are in their prime at like 32 to 38. Seems to be that good spot where growth and they're kind of getting everything down pat for them.
Yep. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Chicago, Tampa will be the goal for next year.
And what are you working on? Like, what do you need to bring up? What are you thinking?
I would like to bring up the density in my back in the width,
okay,
and then bring up my arms, a little more hamstring drop, and then doing a lot more direct glute work.
Okay,
because my glutes are one of those things that they'll get really like hard, but they don't necessarily, they'll get striate from the side, but they don't get those deep striations from the back.
Yep.
Now, I would like to at least attempt to bring that out more. I know there are guys in the pros that win without that, like Kareth Baggio, right? Like his glutes get super hard, but they don't necessarily get striate from the back. And I might be in that same camp, but definitely a lot more direct glute work, a little more hamstring drop, back thickness and width, and bring up the arms.
So ideally, I think you said you were 219 at the Team Universe?
Yep.
If you could kind of mold the body, what would you want to be at? 225, 230, or what would you ideal for you?
Be at least 230. I think that would be a respectable weight, and that would be a good showing with a good level of conditioning. I think that would be a respectable pro debut showing for me.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I know I asked you this question when I emailed you, but what's your Mount Rushmore of bodybuilders?
Oh boy. All right. So I thought about this, and I'm gonna go personal likes.
Yeah, do you don't go with the norm is like Mr. Olympia is. I mean, do you?
Yeah. Okay, so Phil, Ronnie, Dexter, Lee Haney.
Interesting. Okay.
And I have Dexter in there just because, the longevity in so many shows.
And look at where he was too, because I'm a big Dexter fan too. And if I remember correctly, I think he got his pro card as a light heavy, maybe.
Yeah.
And when he was done competing, I think it was 240 when he was done competing.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, he's the man. He's the man. Like you can do it for that long at that level and win that many shows. You're on the Mount Rushmore.
Okay, so Ronnie or Lee Haney. You're the new generation, so I think I know where you're going to go with it.
Yeah. Ronnie, and only because of what bodybuilding's looking for these days.
Okay.
So in my mind, at the time, Lee was complete for what was asked for. But sure. I think in today's what they're asking for today, you got to go Ronnie, just because he was a little more complete all over in my mind.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Today's landscape from when you started following 10 years ago, give or take.
Yep.
Okay. Now the big talk is look at the top 2 guys. They're 212ers.
Mm-hmm.
That are killing it. But yet you've got some of the monsters like the Andrew Jacks, the Samsons, and then you've got, I like Nick Walker, but I think Nick Walker, I look at him, I think he's like Branch Warren. He's got a very unique physique. Yep. I mean, what are your thoughts on the overall kind of the landscape today versus when you started analyzing it years ago?
I prefer it now. I think that shape is definitely rewarded a little bit more, even for the shorter guys, right? Like you get Derek's and you get the hotties that like, yeah, they're packed with muscle, but they got these tight waistlines and they can pull it in. And we're not just rewarding mass. And that works better for me because I'm never going to be a mass monster.
Sure.
So when I see guys, like the Andrew Jacks and the Samsons that are getting rewarded a little bit more for shape and the Keons, and that's kind of what the judging is not necessarily leaning to. You have to be complete and you have to be in shape as well. But like, I definitely kind of prefer that over just as much muscle as you can pack on per square inch and come in completely shredded.
Do you think the next couple of years it's going to continue to be, Derek and Hottie, or do you think someone else is going to finally step up and surprise everybody?
No, I think Martin Fitzwater is knocking on the gate. A couple more years, man.
You think
I
he's got
think
Mr. O potential?
100%. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think him, Hunter Labrada, Hunter definitely will be a top 5 guy. I mean, Andrew will too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're definitely some guys, but yeah, I truly think that Martin Fitzwater will win a Olympia. Yeah.
Wow, that's a soundbite right there if I ever heard it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I competed against Martin in 2019 at North Americans.
Okay.
I think he missed his pro card there, but like I could, you could tell that he was going to be good, and he's so young. Like
Yeah.
he's
I
super impressive.
I like Hunter, and I think hopefully he's finally learning his body because again, years ago he was on. If you follow, he's like on a liquid diet like
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago, and
yeah.
I know now he's like 290. He's looking good, looking
He
crazy
looks
silly.
insane. I mean, just the development and the thickness that he has is super impressive. Super impressive. And I don't know if that's just from the diet switch, but it definitely helped.
So I know it's early, and I'll put you on the spot now. Who do you think's going to win? Give me your. Is it going to be Derek and Hottie again, first and
Yeah,
second, or give or take this year?
for sure. And it will be Hottie for the win. Yeah, yeah. I think Hottie comes in like he did at the Arnold this year, and I mean he walks away with it.
Yeah, he was on another level. I mean, for Arnold, he was on another level.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the best showings of a bodybuilder I think I've ever seen. It was ridiculously impressive.
Yeah. What about our third though? Third's going to be the odd man out. I'll stop at third place.
Yeah, third. I still think it'll be Samson.
Okay.
I think Samson is putting together the pieces for the conditioning. And his back looks much improved. So
Yeah.
I do see Samson in the third spot and probably Nick in the fourth spot.
Yeah, he's over internationally training in Saudi, I think, or somewhere.
Yep. Over in
So
Kuwait, right? He's
Kuwait,
at
there you go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll see. You know, you go over there and you're coming back 10, 15 pounds heavier and 3% even less body fat.
Yeah, for sure. They like blowing their guys up.
Definitely. But Michael, it's truly been a pleasure, man. Is there anything that maybe we haven't covered or anything else that you want to let people know about?
Let's see. Anything I want people to know about. Go to I Prevail, I-prevailsups.com because they have amazing products and
Yeah, the awesome guy, awesome owner, as we discussed.
awesome guy, awesome owner. And if you feel like using my discount code, feel free.
Plug it away. What is it?
Main Event 10. So
And
Maine is in like the state, Maine event
okay.
10. Yeah. Go get
And
yourself.
also on your Instagram, you have cryptocurrency. Do you dabble in that or you have that on there?
I do dabble. Yeah. Yeah. I've been dabbling since 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, or do you play in one of the other kind of coins?
I play in more of the altcoins,
Okay.
safer altcoins. And, I'm not a trader or anything like that. I
Yeah.
just kind of slowly like dollar cost average in weekly and have
Okay.
my picks that I just kind of sit on. And the market's kind of crazy right now. So I'm still just holding strong.
Yeah, I'm a Bitcoin boy. I bought it like 25, and I have a friend saying, "Oh, it'll beat 100 plus." I'm still waiting, but we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yep. I still think it's not a terrible investment. I know some people out there are like, oh, it's a fad. It's a flash in the pan. I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
know where it's going to go, but I still think cryptocurrency has infinite potential.
And then we talked about your store also, not your store, but the store you work for. Go ahead and give them a plug.
Yeah. Portland Nutrition Corner, South Portland, Maine. That's the best in the state. Swing by. I'm there 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And best prices, best staff. We have another IFBB Pro on staff as well, Kaylee Walker, and she's a women's figure pro. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she competed in Tampa and Texas last year, I believe. Yeah. So
people coming in to buy subs for you, or coming in to pick your brain about competing and diet and everything else?
gosh, I wish it was only subs. But it's definitely a lot of picking my brain for sure. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mind that at all. I like talking to everybody and giving out as much information as I have if I got it.
Yeah, and that's why I love supporting the mom and pop shops because there's the ones that know the subs, more personable, and are not just kind of pushing crap at you.
100%. Yeah.
And Michael, what's your personal Instagram so people can follow you?
Oh yes, the_main_event 207. Once again, Maine, Maine, and give me a follow. And I usually post more fishing content than bodybuilding content. So if you're there for strictly bodybuilding, I'm sorry, you'll probably get a lot of fishing content too.
And that's okay. It shows more of you,
Yeah.
you know, what your
Yeah.
hobbies are outside. I love seeing some of the family pics that you have. It
Yeah,
shows you more humanistic, where a lot of, let's face it, a lot of Instagram is what people want to be or what they think they should be versus what they are.
for sure. I mean, you know, you got to promote yourself, but I do see a lot of bodybuilders that it kind of seems that's all they do is
Yep.
post physique pictures. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, my physique pictures definitely get more likes than my fishing pictures, but you know,
It is what
I
it
don't
is.
know. I just, yeah, I feel like sometimes we get a little flooded with physiques, and sometimes you can dial it back and show some other stuff that you're interested in.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But Michael, again, it's truly been a pleasure. You know, I look forward to your journey.
Yes.
Perhaps down the road, maybe you want to do a tandem with your girlfriend Shay as well. Love to have
That'd
you
be
both.
fantastic.
Kind of hear
Yeah,
the
that would be
dynamic
great.
between both you folks.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
awesome.
You know, and as always, folks, give Michael a follow. If you're in Maine, go check him out at the gym, check him out at his store. And
Yes.
as always, give me a follow, give me a like as well. That's SubTalk Radio. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you.